Welcome to Shine.fm's A Closer Look podcast, going a little deeper into the hearts and lives of the artists you hear on Shine.fm. Well, here in the studio today, we have Colton Dixon with us this morning. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having us. It's going to be a good time.
So, someone who may be new to hearing about you, I mean, you had your journey first started on American Idol, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So how was that?
It was all the feels.
All the feels.
Yeah, it was a really good time. I learned a lot. It's very stressful.
What was it like doing it with your sister?
Actually, it was amazing.
Yeah?
Yeah, they like to edit things a certain way on TV, but we actually had a really good time together.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was a blast.
Cool. Why American Idol?
It was never something that I was necessarily pursuing. We grew up watching it as a family and loved the show, and I'm sure like a lot of other families out there, but my sister was like, you know what, I think I want to go do this. And we were all like, all right, cool, we'll go with you and like root you on. And while we were waiting outside, she was like, man, if you're going to wait, why not try out with me,
Yeah.
So it was kind of like we didn't have anything to lose, and we did it, and it worked out. We won the lottery kind of in that regard. But yeah, it's kind of, I would almost ask why not American Idol.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So, big news that you just announced recently that you're going to be a dad.
I'm going to be a dad.
How exciting is that?
I am so excited. Wow. Yes.
How did your wife tell you?
It wasn't fancy. She took the pregnancy test, and then she walked straight into the room we were staying in, and she looked at me and she's like, she actually started to cry a little bit, and it was the sweetest thing.
Yeah.
And I'd like coached myself on that moment. I'm like, when that moment comes, I need to be strong for her. I need to be excited. Just all the things. Because if I wouldn't have coached myself through it, I would have been like deer in headlights, I'm sure. But yeah, I was excited. I was all those things. Thank you, Jesus. And it was a beautiful moment. Yeah. But yeah, it was a moment that just her and I had together, and it was awesome.
So what are you most looking forward to, like when it comes to being a parent?
Man, I see like babies, and I see especially like the 2 to 4 year old kids with their parents, and I'm like, that is awesome. I'm just, especially now that we know that we're pregnant, I'm just excited to have a little guy or a little girl around the house, and I think it's going to bring just a different level of joy into our home. And yeah, it's kind of like if I have a boy, I'm really stoked to like throw baseball with him, or to like, or either one, have them sit next to me at the piano and just like show them the piano, or just all the things. I'm just stoked about it.
Very cool. Yeah. Very cool. So you've been married to your wife for 4 years.
Yeah, we just celebrated 4 years in January.
Congratulations. Thanks. So like when you're traveling, how do you support each other? How do you prioritize your family?
Yeah, great question. So up until this point, my wife has actually been out on the road with me, which has made it super easy to do that.
Yeah.
I know that's not the case for most artists, so we try not to take that for granted. However, with the new news, it's a conversation that we're having. Obviously, when the baby's first born, she'll be at home, and I've tried to, carve that out of my schedule as well as best that I can. But yeah, we're not sure what that looks like moving forward. Right. So we're figuring that out. Are we going to have a little guy on the road with us? Maybe. I don't know. Or girl. We don't know what it is yet. But yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Okay. So 4 years of marriage, how do you keep God at the center?
Oh, that is a great question. I'm going to set this up by saying I'm not perfect at it. Marriage is probably one of the hardest things I've ever done, but it's also definitely the most rewarding thing I've ever done. Someone said once, if you want to be more like Christ, get married. If you want to do more for the kingdom, stay single. And I thought that was really interesting. Paul talks about that.
Yeah.
I just think it's really important to set aside time and to make time, because when you don't be intentional, things creep in and your day gets busy, and then all of a sudden you're dead tired, you're wanting to go to bed, and you haven't had your Jesus time.
Yeah.
Alone or together. So it's just really important that the conversation is ongoing, seeing where each other's at. And yeah, like I said, not perfect at it. I don't think anyone is, but we're trying our best. And I think communication is a big part of that, though.
Yeah. when you say like making sure you're having that constant conversation with God, and that reminds me, you do have a new song.
Yeah.
And I read that somewhere where you said it's so important to see God in all the little things too.
Yeah.
I mean, is that something where you're just so attuned to seeing God in your day-to-day life? Like, what inspired that song?
Yeah, I think that when you spend time with God, you're gonna hear His voice clearer, and you're gonna recognize it quicker. But this song actually kind of came out of a crazy place for me. About 3 years ago, the American Idol deal ended, which meant my record label went away as well. So everything was up in question for me. What I had thrown my identity into, my career, what I loved, all my hobbies, it's all music. So I'm like, what do I do? Am I getting a day job? Is that what this means?
Yeah.
Like, do I go back to school? Like, what is this? And my wife said, man, this is not a setback. This is God setting us up for what's next. And I'm like, wow, what perspective.
Yeah.
She's awesome, obviously. But in that season, I was kind of forced to slow down. I had no other option. But in doing so, I did see God in all the little things. God is still in the business of doing miracles.
Yeah.
It's not just an Old Testament thing. It's a right here, right now thing. And He likes to use people. So if He likes to use people, I want to be one of those people.
Yeah.
So just all of those things kind of help formulate this idea behind New Song Miracles.
With your new song, how do you hope to inspire people, or what do you hope people take away from hearing it?
Yeah, I think a lot of my songs are super deep, and I'm trying to like inspire this one like really deep thought and make you look at your life in this grand scale. This is a lot more simple. I think the style of song kind of portrays that as well. It's just a fun, upbeat, peppy song. I just want you to slow down long enough to see God in the little things.
Yeah.
That's it. But there's so much beauty in that. When you do it, it's like, I should have done this so long ago, but we get so busy, right? We all do that. But yeah, just slow down just long enough, or take like an hour out of your Saturday morning, wake up an hour early and just sit in His presence, or be still.
Yeah.
God says He will lead you beside the still waters. They're not crazy rapids. They're still waters.
Yeah.
It's peaceful. So I think we need to do that more often.
So I saw that you asked people to share their miracle moment. Do you have an example of one of yours?
Man, one that I saw, it was just so amazing. It was actually based on an older song of mine, but they said that they were on the verge of divorce with their wife. And one of my older songs, I believe it was Through All of It, they both heard it on the radio, and I'm pretty sure they were not being very nice to each other on the way to church, actually.
Okay.
And it came on the radio, and they just broke down. And then that was kind of like the seed that began the regrowth in their marriage and the healing in their marriage. And they're still married. It's just awesome. It's like, yes, that's awesome. That's what it's about. So cool.
Yeah. And one of the lyrics, you said, right before I hit the ground, somehow you came along and found me. What does that mean to you?
Yeah. I think that we fall sometimes. Just because we're a Christian doesn't mean we don't fall, or we don't have moments, or sometimes it feels like the rug's been pulled out from under you. That was my case. Yeah. But God always comes in, perfect timing always. So it was that moment for me. It's like, man, I was headed for rock bottom. Mentally, I was like scared to death just of what the future held, or what it didn't hold for me. And it wasn't 2 or 3 months after that all went away that actually did a new deal with a record label that just completely blew my mind. So just the opportunities are just endless right now, so it seems. So it's just really cool how God works. Yeah. Not saying He's always the orchestrator of bad things, because I don't think that's true. I think He comes to give us life, and life more abundant. Yeah. But He took that which was meant for evil and He turned it for my good. And I just think that's really awesome. So that was kind of that line for me. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I have a twin sister. Okay. She went to Purdue University in Indiana. Okay. And so I came here, but it was a big deal for us to go to different colleges. Sure. But she had heard, or was listening to Through All of It, and then she heard the line where it says, "Oh, and you have been my God through all of that." Yes. And that's when she was like, okay, I think this is where Megan's actually going to go. Cool. And she was cool with that. And like, so that was just neat. That's awesome. Very cool. So thanks for sharing that. When I hear that song, like, oh, and you and all of it. That's awesome. I love that.
I read that, playing the piano was your safe space. Did you play particular songs? Did you just play notes, like whatever came to mind?
For some people, it's like locking themselves away in their room and they pull out their journal and like that's their just like safe place. For other people, it's in their car, whatever. That's just kind of their time. For me, it's just when I sit down at a piano and there's no distraction, like it's kind of hard to explain. I just kind of sketch and journal, but through a piano.
Okay.
And it's my time with the Lord as well. Like whether it's in my mind or out loud, I'll have conversation. And it's just a really intimate time, I think, that I get to have with him. But it's also like just I think a really creative zone as well. It's where a lot of my songs get started. So yeah, that's just kind of my safe place.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you were writing songs with your sister and your friend in high school, did you ever dream that you'd have a career like you've had so far?
No. I knew that I was going to be doing music, but I had no idea it would look like this. When God plants a seed, just hang on because it's about to grow. Yeah. So,
and then you were invited to the National Prayer Breakfast.
Yeah, you're right.
So what was that like?
It's really cool. I need to look up this verse. There's something about when you pour yourself into God's something, he'll bring you before kings. It's something like that. I need to look it up. But there I found myself playing before just thousands and thousands of leaders from all over the world. And it would be really easy for me to go, I did that. Yeah. But I know that's not true. Yeah. There's no way. I don't have the context to make that happen. Yeah. So it's really cool how God orchestrates things. My favorite part about that, I played during the prayer breakfast, but then they had a closing dinner that night. Yeah. And I played a song called Jesus Paid It All. Yeah. And these are people that have a bunch of different faiths. It's not just Christian, but Jesus is kind of the center. Yeah. Not sure how all that works, but story for another time maybe. But I played Jesus Paid It All, and people were singing and jumping in and worshiping. And it was just like, regardless of, what your political party is or whatever, it was just a beautiful moment to see all those people together singing about Jesus. It was just awesome.
All right. So tell me about your first time. You said you were so nervous to write a song with TobyMac. I mean, have you always looked up to him?
Oh my gosh. He is, he's the man. He knows it. He's the man. But yeah, it was my second record. I had worked with the producer before. His name's David Garcia. And I really wanted to do something with Toby. I just really respect him. I know he's going to bring his A game. So we walked in and we did a song called Our Time Is Now. Okay. And perfect song, I think, for him and I to write. It's very rock, up-tempo, a lot of fun. But it's just about it's now or never. So just press on and keep doing it kind of a thing. And for him, that means something completely different for me. He's been doing it for so long, but he's like, you know what? He also wrote a song called Till the Day I Die. It's like, I'm going to keep going until I feel like I need to stop. So that was his thing. But for me, it's like, man, I feel like I finally found my footing as an artist. Second record, it's go time. Let's go. So he's just great. I've gotten to tour with him as well. I still need to beat him at cornhole, but whatever. But he's a great guy. We love him, and prayers for him and his family during this time too. So
if you could give yourself advice to your beginning career self, what would you say?
Don't sing Bad Romance on American Idol. That's probably what I would say. No, I'm just kidding. Well, I'm probably not kidding, but don't be afraid to take risks. Okay. Yeah, I think smart risks, calculated risks. Yeah. But whether it's music or business, I think I played it safe sometimes when I knew deep down I wanted to try something else, or I wanted to go after, maybe it was a song at radio, or maybe it was a stage design idea. Yeah, I wish I would have gone for it more. And I'm sure people listening are like, this guy's pretty theatrical. I don't know how he would have topped what he already did, but yeah, I would probably just be like, don't be afraid to go for it. Okay. Yeah. Well,
thank you so much for your time today. Thank you for saying all the amazing things and for your music. Thank you for doing what you do.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to A Closer Look. For more content like this, subscribe to the Shine.fm podcast channel from Olivet Nazarene University.